Acting is often described as the art of pretending. Most actors step into a role by using tools that help them look the part: a new accent, a physical change, or hours of rehearsal. Acting is built on illusion, and when done well, the audience never doubts it. Method acting, however, is different. It's not about pretending, it's about becoming. This means carrying grief, anger, or madness, not only on stage or on screen, but also in their daily lives. They may isolate themselves in dark rooms, push their bodies through harsh routines, or even develop risky habits to mirror the struggles of their characters. Tom Hanks showed how far this dedication can go while filming Castaway. To play a FedEx worker stranded for 4 years in an isolated island, he first gained nearly 50 pounds to look like a man living comfortably, then paused production for a year to lose the weight through extreme dieting and daily cardio. The transformation was so severe that he developed a knee infection, requiring hospitalization and delaying filming. Years later, Hanks revealed he had developed type 2 diabetes, partly from pushing his body to extremes for roles. While this dedication can create unforgettable performances, it can also cost some method actors their sanity, and sometimes even their lives. And perhaps no story shows this paradox more clearly than Heath Ledger's, especially in his haunting role as the Joker in The Dark Knight. It remains one of Hollywood's greatest method acting performances, one that many believe played a part in his early death. By then, Heath was becoming a major star, appearing in films like 10 Things I Hate About You, I'm Not There, and Candy. But to understand how he reached such heights, we need to go back to his humble beginnings. Heath Andrew Ledger was born on April 4, 1979 in Perth, Australia. His parents, Sally, a French teacher, and Kim Ledger, a mining engineer and former race car driver, raised Heath and his sister Kate in a warm but complicated home. Legend says they named him and his sister after the main characters in Wuthering Heights. Ironically, both Heath and his literary namesake would meet tragic fates. As a kid, Heath was talented in sports, but his parents' divorce pushed him toward acting as an escape. At 10, he played Peter Pan in a local play which sparked his lifelong love of storytelling. By 16, he finished his exams early and traveled to Sydney with his best friend Trevor DiCarlo to pursue acting. Roles in Sweat, Home and Away, and the fantasy series Raw gave him his first spotlight. At 19, he moved to Los Angeles, where his breakout role in 10 Things I Hate About You made him instantly popular. Bigger parts followed, including The Patriot and A Knight's Tale, but Brokeback Mountain in 2005 earned him an Academy Award nomination and cemented his place as one of Hollywood's most compelling actors. His rise didn't go unnoticed. Director Christopher Nolan reached out with an unexpected offer. Nolan was preparing his new Batman trilogy and wanted to see if Ledger would play Bruce Wayne in Batman Begins, not the Joker, but Batman himself. Surprisingly, Heath wanted nothing to do with it. He politely turned Nolan down, admitting he couldn't see the vision for the film. At the time, another Batman reboot felt unnecessary to him.
Heath was somebody I'd met with over the years for different roles. Indeed, I'd met him for Batman at the same time as I met, every actor in town. He explained why he didn't want to do something like that. He was very polite about it, but very clear.
But everything changed the night he sat in a theater watching Batman Begins. Nolan's version of The Dark Knight wasn't the usual glossy comic book story. This time, Heath saw exactly what Nolan was building, a villain who wasn't just evil for the sake of it, but a psychological force meant to push Batman to the edge. Heath walked out of that screening with a new perspective. So when he heard that the sequel, The Dark Knight, was looking for someone to play the Joker, Heath knew he had to be part of it.
I really love Batman Begins, and the Joker, the character of the Joker, was just too good to turn down.
The casting process for the Joker was intense, secretive, and highly scrutinized. The search included actors such as Robin Williams, Steve Carell, Hugo Weaving, and Paul Bettany, but Christopher Nolan, the film's director, stated that Ledger was his first choice for the Joker. When the casting was officially announced in July 2006, the reaction from the public and critics was mixed at best. Many questioned whether Ledger could capture the Joker's cruelty. Some argued he was too handsome, too wholesome, or too well known as a teen idol to play a maniacal killer. Others expressed skepticism rooted in prejudice, pointing to his previous portrayal of Ennis Del Mar in Brokeback Mountain as evidence he could not channel the darkness needed for the Joker. Determined to prove them wrong, Ledger set out to make his Joker unlike anything audiences had seen before. It wouldn't be a repeat of Jack Nicholson's version, or a campy TV-style performance. It would be something far stranger and more unsettling. To prepare for the role, Heath Ledger locked himself in a hotel room for weeks. He wanted to fully understand the Joker's dark and twisted mind. Using Christopher Nolan's notes and his own imagination, Ledger practiced how the character would move, speak, and behave. He kept a private Joker diary where he wrote messy notes, drew disturbing pictures, and added references to A Clockwork Orange, a film about violence and madness. One page had a photo of a hyena which helped him shape the Joker's creepy laugh. He even made a list called Things That Made Me Laugh, but instead of normal jokes, it included strange and unsettling things that showed the Joker's twisted sense of humor. When filming began, Heath Ledger arrived on set every day in full Joker costume and makeup. Ledger kept his Joker diary close, using it to slip into character whenever filming started, but as he threw himself into the role, his sleep suffered. He told the New York Times that during production he slept only about 2 hours a night. He grew restless in daily life and began taking Ambien to help him sleep, something many believe marked the start of a downward spiral. In the famous interrogation scene with Christian Bale, Ledger asked Bale to punch him as hard as possible to make the moment look real, which reportedly shocked Bale. Ledger even hurled himself against the tiled walls with such force that the tiles cracked and dented. This obsession seemed to pay off. When the first trailer was released in December 2007, many people who had doubted his casting began to change their minds. Most of the audience didn't even realize it was Heath Ledger behind the Joker's mask of pain. Despite his personal struggles during filming, Ledger said in interviews that playing the Joker was the most fun he had ever had with a role, and probably the most fun he ever would have. His portrayal was so influential that every actor who has played the Joker since has been compared to him.
Of when Chris and I first sat down, we said, you know what the problem with Batman is that the villains are always more interesting, right? And so Batman actually, he's very close to being a villain himself. So let's never let him become dull by comparison. And unfortunately, I was sitting there going, I'm feeling a little bit dull by comparison because Heath is just like killing this. And but I'm so proud of that film. I love it. The Dark Knight is absolutely extraordinary, you know, and it was such a pleasure to have gotten to work with Heath.
After The Dark Knight was released in 2008, the film grossed over $1 billion worldwide from a budget of $185 million and is widely considered one of the greatest Batman films of all time. After finishing The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger immediately began working on another film, The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, without taking a real break. Many experts believe that resting between intense roles helps actors stay balanced. Sadly, before Dr. Parnassus came out in 2009, Ledger was found dead in his apartment in Soho, New York City on January 22, 2008. He was only 28 years old. 2 weeks later, the New York City medical examiner said his death was caused by the accidental effects of 6 prescription drugs: oxycodone, hydrocodone, diazepam, temazepam, alprazolam, and doxylamine. These drugs combined caused his accidental overdose. At the time, Ledger was living alone in New York. He had recently separated from his partner, Michelle Williams. They had one daughter, Matilda Rose, born in 2005. Although authorities ruled Heath Ledger's death as accidental, many questions followed. It was eventually revealed that Ledger's masseuse had called actress Mary-Kate Olsen shortly after finding his body. Olsen and Ledger were known to be close friends, but some wondered whether she had supplied him with some of the drugs that killed him. Suspicion grew when Olsen refused to cooperate with the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, unless she was granted immunity from future charges. People also found it unusual that she sent her private security team to Ledger's apartment instead of calling the police. Despite these rumors, Mary-Kate Olsen had nothing to do with the drugs found in Ledger's home or in his body. She did not know where he got them. To this day, it is still unclear how Ledger obtained the painkillers that contributed to his death. Ledger's final film was The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. At the time of his death, it was unfinished. The movie was later completed with Johnny Depp, Colin Farrell, and Jude Law sharing his role. Heath Ledger had dealt with insomnia for years, even before working on the Batman films. To cope with it, he often used prescription medication to help him sleep. His sister had even warned him about the dangers of mixing different drugs. Today, people still debate whether his intense work on The Dark Knight played a part in his early death. No one can say for sure that the role caused it, but the mix of method acting, long-term insomnia, prescription drugs, and being separated from his daughter might have contributed to his tragic end.
Blocking my shot!